Welcome to this week's
Stream.
development stream. This video is dedicated to the non-human sentient dwellers of Ruined, creatures of Ruined. And before that, we're gonna give you some news, some recent news, give you some updates.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully not crack any jokes. We just finished.
No, we're very serious today.
The other language stream, and I need some coffee before I can talk.
Yeah,
to
a
you.
tiny shot. There you go. Yes.
Ah! Anyway, the big news of the week is that we started the limited early access.
Super limited, like
Micro limited
access.
And what that means is that we took the liberty of inviting 10 players from
10.
Japan, Russia, Greece, Italy, US, and I think that's about it.
Ooh.
To try to play the game
Yes.
and give us their feedback, and then we have to see how many new issues pop up as they play. They're playing already for a couple of days. If you go to the forum at Spire of Sorcery /forum, the early access forum is already available to read to everyone and to post only to those people who are testing. And you can see about 60 reports in the last 24 hours. Coming out through the whole night, and
I'm sure all of them are compliments to us.
Lots of them are very useful. And to give you an idea, for example, we never ever thought about this thing, but in the game, the books have different authors, and if the book is written by someone from the Inquisition, then that book is very critical of the mages.
Yeah.
So the book would basically say something like, how to use your bad energy to heal people. So whenever Inquisitors talk about magic, they talk in a very negative way.
Yeah.
And if you assign such books for reading to your disciples, they get slightly depressed.
Yeah.
Every page that you turn, it criticizes you, it places you as a subhuman. And one of the players who is playing right now, they just said, why don't you put an Inquisition sign on every book written by an Inquisition, so you know that those books are going to depress your mage, which is important. You don't want to have your mage depressed.
It would be cool that these books are very useful, full of good knowledge and tips, but it'll make your disciple depressed, and you're like, damn it.
That was like a great idea.
Yeah.
Why didn't we do it? Like, we never really thought about that. The other issues are some confusing things which we learned to live with. For example, you set up a quest, you want to send someone to forage and get some mushrooms, but you haven't pressed play yet, so you're still in this hour, and that party is out of the gates but hasn't left yet, and you want to give them a backpack.
I forgot.
Currently, you cannot cancel or edit a quest.
That's quite annoying.
Even though you haven't pushed forward. So we learned about this limitation. We didn't really care about it, but now one of the players says, why not? And we say, well, why the hell not? We should, totally do it.
Yeah.
So lots of great feedback in the sense of people getting lost in, for example, life expectancy. Someone had life expectancy going like this, and then the death of the mage happened at the 35th day. Why? Because that mage overexpended his magic energy. He was casting magic porridge. He was processing new disciples. He was probably doing some research.
Is magic porridge still the killer of the game?
It's not the killer.
The main villain.
No,
not anymore.
But what happened was, we think this is okay. What we think is not okay is that the person did not understand why. So we're making it more visible. As you go to your life expectancy, you'll see a list of negative conditions that affect you right now.
Speaking of that, how did we make the story simpler? You mentioned.
The story is that we thought of asking people to finish the game, meaning producing the Elixir of Youth. But that's a late game goal, which we cannot solve right now very well with the early game content. And so we said, instead of a major campaign, let's do a minor campaign that asks you to obtain the Potion of Life. And Potion of Life has more common ingredients. It's easier to research. It's easier to find.
But it's not as powerful.
Yeah. So it's a different scenario. And what we see that eventually in the game we're gonna have the major campaign, and then a number of smaller campaigns which have simpler goals that you can complete quicker. For example, establish good relationships with at least 3 races of non-humans or similar stuff like that. What else is new?
We'll see it on the map, I think.
Our life right now is this feedback loop with the players playing the game and us fixing it, and also trying to ship bigger features so that we can do bigger early access, or at least limited early access, going up to thousands of people or maybe 100 of people.
Now is 10, and maybe later it's going to be 20.
Yeah, well, it's important that we have players coming from different countries, and each has a different experience. And there's lots of stuff to do for us still yet, so we really appreciate those guys taking the time to play through the current build. But what that means is that we made another step to launch. We are not going back. We're not
we
going
already
to,
kind of launched in a small way.
Yep. And so the release of the game into your hands is now closer than ever than before.
Keep your eyes and ears peeled. Maybe we'll search for 10 more people.
Absolutely possible. And now today's topic, and the topic of this video, is to introduce you to the non-human dwellers, sentient beings, races of Ruined, as well as to a couple of monsters that will be available in the early access version of the game. There's more that we designed and even produced, but they're not coming in the early access version because they're not going to be fully scripted yet. But we'll introduce you to the creatures that you will absolutely certainly find in the early access version. Ta-da!
Drum roll, and there they are.
Clockwise, cyclops, beavers, swamp beast. In the middle is oorls and ashlings. On the left side is Bog Monster. Below is the waterling. I have to work on my pronunciation. Waterling. Waterling. It's not a link to water, it's a waterling. Waterling. Then you have the mushroom eaters. Mushroom gobblers.
Nommers. Mushroom nommers.
Mushroom eaters, drowners. And wood weepers. And we start with the first creature that we ever produced. Speaking of which, we recently confirmed that we started development, active production of the game on the 17th of April 2017. So the game is in production by now for 2 years and almost 4 months. That's actually quite significant.
It's been a while.
It's not a small. It's the biggest game we've ever made. Like Gremlins Inc. was big for the 3 of us who made it originally, but now we're 8, and this feels like a game for 12 people, but not for 8. So But then sometimes I look at the games made by 50 people, and I'm like, how possible to have like so many people do so little?
It's okay. This game will make us grow up. It'll make us change. Already changed us.
And we're looking to hire one more person in a couple of months. So
just dropping an ad there.
Mushroom eaters are creatures created by mages in the Age of Mages to grow and cultivate specific mushrooms. They eat mushrooms, they process mushrooms,
they look like mushrooms,
and their bellies are full of mushroom ferments that can be poisonous if they blow them up. So they can defend themselves.
So there you go. You have an ant, you have a mushroom, and it has to be intelligent and able to collect your shrooms. So these are the designs.
Guys, with any sentient race, you can eventually you'll be able to do diplomacy, so you'll be able to trade. You'll be able to have some peaceful relationship or some beneficial relationship. You can also have some sort of a war with them.
This design is interesting because we didn't know what our art direction is going to be for the game at all. So here I was not only trying out different creature designs, but also how we're going to color the creatures. Is it going to be more painterly, or is it going to be more like pencil-like? So these are the 2 favorite designs, and of course the second one is kind of he's cuter, I think.
Looking back, right now it seems pretty simple. If you had to design this creature right now, it'll be easy. But at that time, that was the first creature ever designed for this game, for this world. And there was a lot of uncertainty and questioning as to whether or not this is the game we're making. Like, is this the game? Should they look funny? Should they look original but not funny or scary? Or like, so all those questions that we've answered since then, and this is
the Mushroom Eater final version.
Also, Rita also had another stream before, so we really struggling here to be serious with you guys. Here's
very serious.
Here's the ingredient that you get out of them. So if you kill them, you can get mushroom ferment. It's an uncommon ingredient. That means that it contains at least 2 or 3 alchemic properties. One of them will be at least uncommon, and the other will be more common.
Spoiler alert: a lot of getting items involves murder. So,
but in this case, since this is uncommon, I don't really think it pays off. Like unless you really struggle for this alchemic property.
They're such cute creatures.
It's sad if your mage has to die, so that's even more sad, right? The next creature is Droughter, and Drowners were originally created to work in the swamps,
catch the fish,
and produce harvest certain ingredients that grow in the swamps, and no one really wants to go there. So you see a bunch of different versions, and again, some are funny, some are not, some are more anthropomorphic than others. Here's the sad little crab, and I think because he's sad, no one really liked him. And then this version, number 5, number 6, slightly different.
Yeah, more neutral, less human-like. So
if you invent someone to go to the swamp and work for you, you don't really have to make them look human. And there you have it. And there we have the final line art version, and from this begins the journey of coloring it. So making sure that it fits the
environment,
the place with the leaf, and so this is the environment with the leaf, mostly in the swamps. Sometimes also on the riverside. And so to fit those things, we decided on these colors.
Needs to look swampy.
And also you have to be able to distinguish the bag, you have to be able to distinguish the spear with which they hunt for fish, you have to see the eyes, and then from this creature you harvest 2 different items. One is the eyes and one is the growth, or the warts that grow on the body of mushroom of a Droughter.
So fun fact, a lot of the items are created once the design is complete. So some of the items our game designer already knows that we need the slime of the Oertel or something like that. But for this specific creature, he kind of looked at the design and was like, the eyes look cool, we can use them, or these weird growths as well was an additional thing.
So it's a kind of a jam session between the artist and the designer, as he balances the world and Rita produces different visuals. The next non-human dweller is Beavers.
The fun,
we begin the journey from here.
From black and white.
They like to weave, as their name suggests, and they like colorful things. So in the future, with the diplomacy, it'll be easier to be their friend if you come richly dressed.
The more bubbling you have, basically, the better.
Amber, gold, pearls that you can harvest from snares, and if you dress up and you have the artificing skills to produce such clothing, then you can visit them and they will say, "Oh my God, Master, you're so
Your
great.
Fashion is supreme. Like you have, we have to obey you now."
And here we, went pretty broadly looking for the image, looking for the right impression. Finally, we arrived here. That is a non-human, clearly, but some parts of it kind of remind you of humans, because the mages reused some of the existing solutions. And then comes different coloring options, whether or not they should be totally weird or more neutral. They live in the ancient forest, so that sort of helps us a little bit to place them. So this is where they live.
Only in ancient forest, by the way. They don't really like all non-humans. They avoid humans, basically.
Yep. And here we go. So that's the final version. You can really see that they love colorful stuff and love to decorate themselves. Sometime later on, we'll show you also the developers of these non-humans, but in a different stream, and you'll see how that transforms as well. What you can collect from them is their mandibles.
Yeah, so sadly again, you'll have to rip them out of the poor Weaver.
It's right here. Yeah. So you just hack away at those jaws and get these things.
Yeah.
Since it's just uncommon, I'm not so sure that a lot of people would do that, because they are pretty good fighters. So it'll be rather dangerous to go and kill them just to get their mandibles, from which you can produce some alchemic things, but probably you can find
if they're available, I guess there's a reason.
Yeah. Now we move to the race that was created to go into the caves.
Cyclops.
And in the caves look for different
minerals. Yeah. So basically we wanted to move away from a classical Cyclops design. He needs to look a bit more interesting. So it's like a gorilla with the hood that closes and blinks, to protect the eye while they're working, they're digging and searching for their
they've got some leather protection up front.
Yeah. So since they're intelligent, they have their clothing and stuff. This one looks
they're
funny.
Not aggressive, they're just very busy digging in and getting precious gems and stones and everything.
This is the design we
agreed on. So you can see not only a big hammer, but you can also see some leather protection for
strong arms
Yep. And basically lots of functional design in how they are dressed.
And also they have 3 eyes, not 1.
Just like the new iPhone.
Yes.
We'll call it the Cyclops iPhone. Yeah. There's the main eye, and then there's the 2 auxiliary eyes. They live in the caves, and you can harvest the eyes.
Again, another story of brutality of Rund.
Well, but here, what I want to highlight here is that the eye is actually
rare this time.
Rare.
Yeah.
And that means that you have more motivation on
collecting it and
getting it, on sourcing it, because it will contain some alchemic properties, at least one of which will be rare, and it could be that it's the only place where you can source it. Yeah. And if that's the property you need, then you have to fight.
Cyclops.
Yep, have to somehow survive the smash of this hammer.
Yeah.
And then and now we move on to waterlings.
Yes.
Waterlings are right here.
Not mermaids.
And there we go.
So these are the first designs of waterlings, and some of them are more like a classical mermaid, like number 5, for example. The other one's like a swan beast or something. And so yeah, I was trying to work with very different water creatures and see what works, see what's more novel and interesting. So we sort of went into a direction of a squid maid. Yes, this is why we don't call them mermaids, really. We call them waterlings. So from this design, speaking of waterlings' function, really, they were also created by the old mages of the past. And right now they roam free, and they like to grow all sorts of plants and little creatures for themselves underwater. They live in lakes and rivers. And also, they really love to play. So one of their favorite games is to drown people. They look kind of friendly, they will call you up, and they'll just drown you, basically. So they're quite dangerous, yes. And also, waterlings are genderless. So in this design, this is the final line art, we were trying to achieve a look that could be any gender, basically. So there we go. Squid maid, waterling. And another sad story of what you get from this creature is the tentacle.
Not so sure about the sadness of the story, as you get attacked or they will look to drown your friends in the party, and so you will end up being confronted, and then, you know,
this time at least you'll be defending yourself, you know. You won't be just killing the poor
mushroom eater guy.
Yeah, the poor mushroom eater,
You know, he doesn't really mean you any harm, but this creatures could mean. And then we move on to ashlings.
Yes. Who used to be pale ones.
All right, so ashlings were designed to service and construct traps and different defense fortifications underground, go through the tunnels and service them, support them, and also, excuse me, eat the prey.
Yeah. So scary fellows, aren't they? Scary fellows.
Since then they deteriorated. They are not as smart anymore. They cannot really build anything complicated much.
Yeah.
But still.
They're just here to be creepy and weird, and...
You'll encounter a lot of ashlings when you will explore catacombs and caves and sometimes even mines.
So this is the final design. He's a bit more skeletal than the previous designs. So, and it looks like a mole rat. The mole rat was basically the main inspiration for this.
They don't really have any eyes. They orient themselves by the sense of smell and
now
sound.
Drum roll, what kind of inventory item do you get from the Ashling?
Not the bag. Not the spear. But
the teeth.
The teeth. Yep.
Yes.
On one hand, this is an uncommon item. That means that the alchemic properties will not be super rare. On the other, you will encounter ashlings quite often.
Yeah.
So that means that you'll be able to procure quite a lot of those things.
Plus, you probably have to fight with them. So you'll beat a toother or a few teeth.
They're not really coming there to be your friend.
Yeah. So same with
that's where they live.
Caves and catacombs.
Allora, we move on to wood weepers.
Yeah. The fun creature, the fun dwellers.
So the story of these creatures is that a long time ago mages punished some of the humans by turning them into living trees that suffered. So imagine that you're a tree, you cannot move, you have a very long life expectancy, and every day you suffer. That's not a very pleasant position to be. Wood weavers are their children. They're saplings.
Descendants,
So as any big tree or any big oak, you know, they sprang some new growth, and that's what you're dealing with. They're absolutely sad to be in their situation. They suffer, and they want you to let them go, either by killing them or by freeing them, dispelling the spell. But that's quite difficult. You can meet them in the ancient forest, and we spent some time looking for the right impression. That's the scale compared to a normal human.
Yeah.
You know, should they be
more dramatic, less dramatic?
Just sad. Like, how do you look if you suffer for
when we animate them, we'll make them cry. Right now, the tears will be removed for a while. These are the colors.
And we move to colors. Since they live in the ancient forest, we had to make sure that they fit this environment. Lots of small details.
Fixes and talking. And this is the base that we chose. And when we choose the base, we start to just adding more details to it. So there we, this is still a working version.
And you see that now we have some blood showing.
Yes.
Which is essential because they continue to weep with blood.
And
that's the final version. So you can see a bit more blood here.
Yeah. No tears yet. Soon.
And that's the ingredient that you get.
Woodweeper's blood.
And the
Yes.
Woodweeper's blood is rare. So that means that it's a valuable ingredient. And the danger here is that if you send someone to collect that item, then they will get depressed. They will get affected by this overwhelming sadness of this creature. And how that works is that if you get depressed, then you lose your appetite and you lose your willpower. And as you stop eating, you start losing your power or strength. Your effectiveness goes down, and then you make mistakes. You waste products.
You go downhill one step at a time.
Yeah. So
plus they're very rare. The creatures themselves, like,
they're not gonna kill you outright, but you'll have to think about whom to send there.
Yeah.
Not the sensitive people. For sure.
No.
Next on, our friend Oertel. That's the last creature that we've made. Yeah.
Yeah.
They seem to be useless, but they're not useless. But you will have to discover it for yourself.
The ugly duckling of Run, basically.
They really like humans. They want to be your friend.
They want to hug you, but you're like, ugh.
They're very, 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 very smelly. They're unpleasant to be around.
They're like Jello, basically.
They live pretty much almost in every biome. They don't really have any natural enemies except for
yes.
Creepers?
There you go.
Yeah, creepers who can dissolve them with their acid.
Yeah. Nobody wants to eat them. They're so disgusting. Nobody wants to eat them except for creepers.
And so this is what we ended up on.
Yeah, this blobby little fella. And then we moved to coloring, and then we're choosing a lot of different
coloring is important. Since they're semi-transparent, you can see their internal organs.
A little bit, yeah.
But since they live in a variety of environments, you have to design them to fit all of those environments. Predominantly, we were concerned about how they will show up in catacombs.
Yeah, basically, we were considering greener versions. And we have a lot of green backgrounds. So we were just testing
whether or not it should be this. Or this, and here's what we settled on.
Yeah.
That's my friend. You cannot really. Oh, you can. Okay, you can get from them their slime.
Yeah.
Forgot it's
probably
about that.
a very pleasant experience. Like, ugh.
Oh yeah.
The student will hate you forever. The disciple.
But here's the thing. They're actually very handy in a certain thing.
Yeah.
That you will have to discover, you may discover if you really level up in monstrology.
Yeah.
No spoiling this for you guys. It'll take a lot of effort to go up and to really...
They're special in a special way, basically.
Yeah, and now we have 2 monsters.
Yeah, moving to monsters.
So the difference between monsters and creatures, non-human creatures, is that non-humans you can trade with, you can have a relationship with. Monsters just want to
eat you, basically.
Kill you or eat you, and we start with the swamp beast.
Yeah.
And it's me in the controls again. All right, so what's a swamp beast?
It's basically a stump.
That can walk when needed and that attracts the prey.
One thing we didn't mention about drowners is that drowners like to think of swamp beast as a god of sorts.
Well, they like to worship someone or something, and since the original mages who created drowners are gone now, they are looking for the next best thing, which would be sometimes the swamp beast. So occasionally, if you kill that beast, you may find a lot of offerings.
A lot of loot. So you see, the beast is like a stump. It has to sort of blend with the environment, and it also has these tentacles. So basically, if you come too close, you can become its meal. And sometimes when there's not much food around, it moves. So like in the first concepts you saw, it can get up and it can walk around to a new location, basically. But most of the time it just stays in water in the swamp and waits for the prey.
We had to balance the need to blend in the environment and the need to still be a dangerous monster that it is. It has different glowing mushrooms that it uses to attract small animals, which it then consumes. And we figured out that the eyes shouldn't be really much visible. It doesn't pay off for this monster to you can see some details of how you work on that. And finally, some more work. Lots of details. I mean, you know that that's something we work on, and there you go. That's the final version, and that's the environment where it lives. So
All
it
the
really,
swamps.
blends in and then works there to attract. The final monster that we are showing you today is the Bog Monster.
Yeah.
So as you go into distorted lands, you also have some biomes that are available exclusively within the distorted lands.
Yeah.
Such as black pools, such as rusted forest, and in this case, battlefields.
Yeah.
Battlefields are the places where lots of people died, or not only people, I mean, lots of creatures died during the cataclysm at the end of the Age of Mages. And this chaotic power burst of magic,
as we'll see later on, it's a place full of bones and with a lot of magic energy swarming around, and it creates these bone beasts. Yeah, and these bone beasts are not created by intelligent design. They're just created by random surges of magic. So they shouldn't look like very neatly designed. They should look a bit chaotic, but still be able to move in a way. So this is the final design.
So that's a sort of a random manifestation of that thing.
Yeah.
Are
we getting?
And this is the battlefields where they live. You can see some monster already going there. There's another one climbing there, and so on.
So basically, no life, only bones, magic, whatever poisonous gases are there. So.
And these creatures, these monsters, will attack your party, and you have to be ready to face them off.
Yeah.
And you can extract from them death essence, which is a rare item, and that means that it has at least rare alchemic properties. One of those is death. So that's one of those properties that is connected directly to a specific item. So if you need death to produce, for example, your potion of life or elixir of youth, then you have to go there and you have to battle them, and you have to win, and then you have to get back, and then you have to bring enough of that stuff to produce the elixir. So that's a formidable enemy.
Very high level stuff, basically.
When people ask us, do you have monsters, like boss monsters, we do have some monsters that are really strong at the end of the whole thing. And that's about it, except maybe we want to show you a little bit of the game. Let's see if we have that game. Yes.
Yes, we do.
All right. Yep.
There we go.
So that's the current version of the game. Some of the changes are that you can start now different types of quests right from those buttons.
Yeah.
For example, let's go foraging. You can see now that
there's like an area where you can
forage,
and where you can't.
Here you cannot, and then we get it, so we can do it.
You choose the closest proximity, basically.
So, for example, here. I will be able to forage both sources. That means that is going to go much faster than usually. We've changed a little bit the filtering system. We've introduced this icon of character efficiency that let me just start rolling, and that's it. Actually, I will send
someone on the mission.
Yeah, let me send someone to explore.
Yeah. Oh shit! Okay.
He doesn't like it, but whatever. So efficiency is here. Then you also see that she's reading a book on her own. She's not doing anything, but she just wants to read a book, so why not? And then let's send him. Some other small changes. There's now the prediction of how many days you have food for in your Spire, so you know that in 4 days they'll have to switch to casting magic porridge. Let's see what's going on here. Didn't sleep well, lonely, and has nightmares. Okay. And now this is the big thing. It's the skill check. So for every action that happens in the game in the log, we're showing you a skill check that shows the risk factors and why you succeeded or failed in a specific task. Here you see a skill check for astrology. Your required level is 0 and the actual level is 0. The forecast is that you get a medium chance of success. So you failed and you did not obtain anything.
That's so sad.
And here you found a new location. There's a new knowledge. We now show you the level of this knowledge. And here's another skill check where you had a medium chance of success, but you do succeed, so you collect those. The idea behind showing you the skill checks is to better expose you to the workings and mechanics, so you understand the reason of why certain things happen and why certain things don't happen. We also added things called stashes. If your character is attentive enough, then they can find stashes in different places around the world. Here's another skill check, and you can see that his travel magic is 1 and the required is 0. So he has a high chance of success, and boom!
No problem.
All good. All good again. Astrology. Hunting was successful.
Eating raw meat, poor guy.
We're still working on the format of showing you the suggestions. Here, there is a suggestion that it'll be handy if you could have a knife.
Yeah.
And you're able to research it later on. And then you riff through and you are gone. Snake.
Oh.
Yep. And we passed the test, so the skill check is successful. That means that we did not get bitten by a snake.
Oh, so travel magic helps you.
Insect protection would help me here too, but I also passed it here and I didn't get bitten by them as well.
Oh no, he's not.
And now I'm not lucky.
Not lucky anymore.
With a medium chance of success, I fail this skill check and I get blisters, fever, and labor breathing.
Lovely.
All the symptoms of being bitten by the guys.
Had a pretty long journey.
I get insomnia. I don't know from where.
Ooh, we're reaching plains.
Oh, I get nightmares.
Oh, that's
new. That's new.
That's new, yeah.
So nightmares is not good because you don't really sleep well. If you don't sleep well, you don't restore your energy. So that means that the next day you're even
abnormal.
That probably means that he ate raw food.
Too much raw meat. That's all he.
And he's vomiting.
Yeah.
Let's see the final report. Oh man! Oh man! Oh man! Upset stomach, nausea, abdominal pain, and we're now building a system of the illnesses and the symptoms, and they're all connected, and there's
it's
a way
very
of
complicated.
treating them. I mean, if you're interested, you can go to Discord and take a look at all the connections.
Picture. Yeah, it looks pretty.
It looks pretty complicated. It took me 2 hours just to map that whole thing. So that's one
his journey.
person.
Oh, and he opened some wool for us. Good job.
Yeah.
I can mine some wool.
That's the mistake in the translation of the tag. Yeah. So let's just wait for him to come back and we'll be done here. Come on. Oh, he spent 12 days there, huh?
Oh, we have...
All right. Skill check. Success.
Success again?
Again, success. Lots of successful skill checks.
Guy.
Success. Success. So what we're trying to do is to expose all the mechanics that happens in the game. So you're aware of why exactly this happened or this did not happen. What was that? We found wood weepers.
Oh.
It's pretty cool.
Ember.
The ember.
Oh, he started consuming magic porridge.
We're finally showing you that he's using a spell to cast the arcane porridge. You'll see the different values of the porridge. Lots of casting, leveled up.
Yeah, we didn't really give them any food.
He failed and he got lost.
Oh no.
And you see here he's got first level, it's a 0 level, but he still has a medium chance of success because I think he was unhappy at that time.
Yeah.
Success, failure, he got bitten by a snake. So here we have. He's got poisoning, 3 different symptoms, and then he brought a bunch of stuff.
Life is hard for these disciples. Oh, and you got this beautiful
exploration.
Shape.
Yep. And then look, the mage is absolutely unhappy and starving.
There's no food in the Spire.
Yep.
We need to cook food.
Anyway, that's where we are with the current build. If you're interested in understanding the current situation, go to the early access forum at spireofsorcery.com/forum, and you'll be able to see the current state of the game right there from the reports of current players.
Yeah, and see the latest production updates, all the visual updates, and we'll talk about logic updates as well, all the news.
Next week, we hope to showcase to you the flora of fruit, meaning different
plants,
herbs, trees, and the stuff that you can forage and collect that exists in the game.
Stuff that is friendly, neutral, and dangerous.
Yeah. And as we move every week closer to the early access version of the game, to launching this early access version of the game, we don't know yet when it ships, but we think it's now a bit closer.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.